Hello interwebs and welcome to S.P.L.U.H, the Human Revolution. Today we're going to be implementing our third episode of Professional Review, and this time we're going to be reviewing a game. The game in question is Resident Evil 4. Now the reason I'm reviewing this game first is because I forgot to put this on my top 10 list. Well, not forgot, I couldn't find a place for it. You know, there's only 10 slots, and I really do like this game. It's very good. Now, I played it for the Wii, which I think is better because it's point and shoot, whereas in the PlayStation version, you would have to wiggle the analog stick and then do all this. But in the Wii version, you just point, hit the B button, point, hit the B button. And the B button is positioned so it's like a trigger. So, it works pretty much like a gun. Maybe not as effective as an actual gun thingy, but it's still pretty effective. And so I like that version a lot. I really appreciate the game. It broke away from what the games were originally doing. I mean, originally, Resident Evil was survival horror zombies. And now, I'm not sure what the hell they're trying to do now, but Resident Evil 4 really broke out of their formula. Yes, there are a lot of knee-jerking moments, and there's a lot of points where you're on the edge, especially in the first couple of playthroughs, where you're on the edge of your seat desperately trying to escape danger. But overall, it's not as horrifying. I mean, there is a survival element, because you're in this strange environment, you have limited ammo, limited recovery items, but, you're not really at risk of... You don't fear death quite the same way. I mean, when the boulder comes rolling down the hill, you have to do the QuickTime event. Well, if you fail the QuickTime event, you just set back to the top of the boulder, no issue. In the original games, you got set back to your save. Or, actually, yeah, you got set back to your save. And now you just get set back to the last event. And there's no limit to how many times you can die before you get set back to your save. So if you pass through a checkpoint between saving, no big deal. So it's a little bit less scary. But at the same time, they added so much. New weapons, the case system, oh my god, I love that system. In the original games, you got like 6 slots for items, and that was it. And each gun took up a slot, each full cartridge of ammo took up a slot. I mean, that was just terrifying. You could not carry any of the things you needed to carry. You needed to use those item boxes to the max. It was scary. But now you have this big case, and you can hold as many items as you can wedge in there. So, I mean, you start out with just a handgun, you add your ammo, you get some first aid spray, and as you go along, you pick up things. You pick up an egg, you pick up some more ammo, you pick up a shotgun, etc., etc. Grenades here, there. And you can fit that in. And if you can't fit it in, well, just find the merchant and sell it. Or use it, But that was the good thing about it, because there was some flexibility. You felt like you had control over the scenario. You could decide what you had going into the fight. And they got rid of the storage items because it doesn't really make sense over that huge multi-layered game. But it's still, you felt a little bit safer having some control over your items. And then, there's the merchant, which, by the way, the Resident Evil 4 merchant is by far the coolest merchant ever. Not only does he sell you your essential weapons and health restorative items, he also sells you expansions to your equipment or your case. He sells you treasure maps. He sells you upgrades to your guns. He'll buy all your trinkets off you for exorbitant amounts of money. And He even gives you a gun for completing a target practice challenge. I mean, is just a very good character to add in. I mean, he's in all these different places at the same time. And it's definitely the same person because if you shoot him and kill him, he never shows up again, ever, throughout the rest of the game. So it's one person who's just following you around on your travels and waiting at one specific spot so you can buy something from him. How weird is that? And, I mean, he has an infinite arsenal. And he's wherever he is, there are no zombies. That's the best part. You know you're not going to be attacked by, well, okay, they're not zombies, they're like mutant parasite people, whatever the fuck they are. You know they're not going to attack you while he's there because they aren't in the same room as him. So it's just a very good system to add in. On top of advanced gameplay, advanced graphics, they threw in a second character that you have to take care of, which is sometimes annoying, but it adds a bit of strategy, which is pretty cool. And they add this storyline that you couldn't really get with the earlier games. I mean, even in the remakes, I don't feel invested in the characters in Resident Evil 1. Not at all. They're just there. Oh well. But in RE4, I really felt invested with Leon. I felt like I had to make sure he succeeded. I felt like he was the badass character I wanted to be. And with Ashley, yeah, you want to save her. It's not just you have to, you want to. And that's the great thing about it. This game makes you want to win. Not a lot of games can do that nowadays, and that's why it was so good. So, all in all, I'd say this game is very good. I mean, and beyond just normal gameplay, there's other things you can do. There's mercenary mode, which if you complete mercenary mode, you get a hand cannon with infinite ammo. Oh my god, that makes the game so much more fun. Just point, head explodes. Point, head explodes. Oh, it's so good. So good. Uh, and there are bonuses for beating the game. You know, I mean, if you beat the game in easy mode, you get a new costume and this weapon called the Matilda, and you have to replay it. And if you beat the game again, you get another new weapon. And if you beat it on hard mode, you get this energy cannon thing. That's just OP as hell. And, you know, I mean, there's perks for being good. Which is a thing that Resident Evil has been doing for a long time, but it's just nice that they kept that element of, you know, reward for success. And there's rewards for getting everything in the game. I mean, it's a good game. It feels very good to beat the game, to complete it. The only problem I had with it is that there's not really a chance to backtrack after a certain point. Like, if you miss something, you kind of missed it for good. Because once you move on past the village area, you can't ever go back to the village. And once you move on past the castle area, castle is off limits for good. And, I mean, there are even markers in the middle of these areas where you lose access to the part before it because you can't go back. And that's kind of annoying, but you know, it just motivates you to explore before you move on and make sure that you've got everything taken care of first. And that kind of adds to the element of survival horror where if you miss something, oh well, you're screwed. Keep going. So you kind of have to know how to play the game. You have to know where to look for certain things. Because you can go the whole game without getting that first shotgun. But, you know, you'll probably get murdered by every chainsaw guy you come across. And, you know, that's one of those knee-jerk moments because those chainsaw guys are one hit kill, and they are so hard to put down early on in the game. Oh my gosh. Later on, you have more weapons, so you can deal with it, but early on, your first playthrough, it's just a bitch. So, overall, I'd say this game gets a rating of 4 out of 5. Actually, 4.5 out of 5 stars from me. So, the S.P.L.U.S.H, everybody.